gentlemen, and everyone in between. You know what the Transformers franchise needs a lot more of? Female Transformers. Why? Why not? I mean, I know that the series was originally created to market towards cis boys, but come on. We all know that people are gonna watch what they like, regardless of their age, sex, gender, race, etc. I mean, just look at Teen Titans. It's even more fun to have a variety of characters that reflects the variety within the audience. Plus, having just guy robots that are resolutely guys is pretty boring from an artistic standpoint. I could go on and on about the history and canon regarding female Transformers and over the course of the Transformers franchise. I could even talk about how the stagnant palette eventually did change over time. Hell, I could even talk about the history of female voice actors in general. But then this wouldn't be a toy review show, really, would it? Speaking of which, it's time for another Combiners episode! Today I feel like talking about my current favorite combiner, Victorion, the combined form of the Torchbearers. Is she lame? Is she awesome? Let's figure it out. Victorion was the first all-female combiner Autobot team that I got and was made aware of. And yes, I did say first. Thank goodness time marches on. Apparently the Torchbearers is a team of femme Cybertronian explorers and archaeologists, like a team of robot tomb raiders. Freaking awesome! Now as far as design goes, they're honestly just a bunch of remolds from different combiners with different heads that combined together to make a pretty generic looking combiner, just with a unique head and hands and feet. Honestly, their body molds aren't even originally meant to be female, because later on they came up with female specific body molds, and they didn't use those for these guys, so it's kind of like they took male body molds and just stuck female heads on top of them. But they're all really well-made figures, and they look really, really good, and have like really, really good plastic, and really, really solid paint. I'll explain. Let's take a look at Team Victorion and see how they rate on the awesome scale. A reminder that the awesome scale goes from 1 to 5, with 1 being the worst at lame and 5 being the best at awesome. And this time I'm going to go from smallest to biggest, just to switch things up. So here we go. First we're going to start off with Rust Dust. She's the tiniest. She's also part of the chest plate. So her vehicle mode, as you can see, is a little itty bitty motorcycle, which I think is really cute. I'm so glad it's not a moped, quite honestly. It probably would have been, back in the day, a moped would have been seen to be more appropriate for a female character, but thank goodness they went with a motorcycle instead. It's more like a Cybertronian motorcycle. It's kind of low to the ground, and the back wheel is folded into the back part of the chassis here. But it still looks really cool. It rolls around pretty nicely. The back wheel is partially cracked for pretty much just for the purposes of transforming, and I think you can get it to fit together a bit cleaner, but it's just like that from where I left it last time. Clean wheel. I like the little detail here. She's got a crack on her windshield on one side, a little spider crack that I thought was pretty neat. I'll put in a more detailed picture. And then her Autobot insignia is on the front. Like the rest of the figures you'll see in this set, the plastic is really, really solid. A nice glazing on the paint, nothing's going to scratch. She's light, but she's well put together. And I think this is just cute. Honestly, a Lego minifigure could fit in here really nice, which is cool. The only problem, and it's very minimalistic, but the only problem I have is that her kickstand doesn't fold up. so it's always down. I mean, honestly, she doesn't really need a kickstand because she's a box. She's very square, so she sits fine in your hand, so she probably doesn't need a kickstand to stay upright, but whatever, it just completes it, you know. Completes the mode. So, let's transform her. And there we are. This is Rust Dust in robot mode. She's basically a scout class figure, so she's only got a few steps to her. Pretty simple, nice and smooth transformation. All the joints and clips and stuff move really well. That was just me accidentally detaching a part from her. That was my bad. At first I forgot that her wind shield actually folds down into her chest plate, which adds even more character with the cross-hatching shatter in the brake. Shatter there. So yeah, she's got very minimal joints. She's got knee joints, which are just hinge joints, ball and socket hip joints, ball and socket elbow joints. Her hands are fixed into her arms, so those don't move at all. And her head moves a tiny bit, but not much. I think that's just another kind of peg joint. Kind of a big jaw for such a little character. Again, I'll put in a more detailed picture, but she's kind of square-jawed. Let's see how she stands up. Stands up pretty nicely on this loose table. A little bit of wobbling. Her weight is distributed further back because of the wheel on her back, which I think tucks away pretty okay, but that's still a source of weight, so you could just tilt her forward a little bit and then she'll stand better. So that's nice. If she were to get a voice, which she would, maybe in the same vein as Strike's Feather, in that she'd have a kind of a loud voice for a small character. Maybe even like say she's older than most of the other characters. She's just scout class, so she's got small stature. Be a little mature Tress MacNeille kind of voice. I just got off the 185. Traffic's not looking too hot today. I think we might want to take the scenic route just to be safe. Otherwise, we're not going to get there in time. Also, we've got about 2 hours before we before we lose the sunrise, so we better get moving now. You know, something like that, kind of like God, what's her name? Like Tress MacNeille's character in Pompoko. Guys, if we don't use the small brushes, we're gonna blow away the entire dig. We need the small brushes for the delicate work, you know? Maybe make her clear, practical, and just sturdy, you know? She strikes me as a sturdy kind of character. So yeah, that's Rust Dust. Next up we got Skyburst and Stormclash. I couldn't tell you which one's which right now because they're identical on the outside in robot mode, and honestly they're identical. They're identical in vehicle mode, and they're also identical in robot mode. So I will tell you which one is which after I've transformed them. And they're also remolds of other helicopters from the Combiners Wars / Power of the Primes line. Yeah, so in their bio, they're twins, because of course they are, so that's why they're interchangeable. They're single blade helicopters, like rescue helicopters. I have blades, he's got the same kind of blades. These are the kind of helicopters like Coast Guard uses a lot. Again, God, I love the plastic on these things. And the paint, it's so smooth. And the paint, the plastic is just so smooth to the touch. The paint's real glossy. It's nice and solid. The helicopter modes from this line are good except for the arms. They just clip into the sides, but you can tell they're arms, and then the heads just turn around. But for the most part, they're pretty well disguised. Let's see how fast I can get the helicopter blades to move. That's what helicopters sound like, for real. I guess you could tell them apart, and I'll see which one's which, because I have to look at their head molds, but they're mirrors of each other. So, one's got the red versus the green on one side, and one's got red versus the green on the other. So that's technically how you tell them apart, but I can't remember which one is which unless I look at the head mold. If anyone in the audience knows which one is which by looking at this color scheme before I transform them, go ahead and comment down below at the timestamp in which you figured out which one is which. But, I can't tell right now. I just know in order you go Skyburst and then Stormclash, and then go by the head molds. So let's go ahead and transform them. I'm just going to show you the transformation sequence for this one, because they have identical transformation sequences. So here we go. There we go. Skyburst, Stormclash. How can you tell? Stormclash has goggles. So if you're trying to remember which one is which, Stormclash has goggles. Stormclash, she's flying into rougher weather, so she's got goggle eye coverings. And I like to turn their back ends, the back tail fan part, opposite towards each other. So I guess that means... So, Stormclash has the green on the right side. Green on the right. Turn her tail to the right. Skyburst, green on the left. Turn her tail to the left. Skyburst right. Stormclash left. Got it? Because I didn't. I just meant Skyburst left, Stormclash right. Oh my god, I'm so dyslexic, I can't tell my right from my left. So, transformation sequence, real simple, only a couple steps. All the joints are nice and smooth. Simplest part is that their arms lock into these pegs on the side. And everything works great. The only part of the transformation that never made sense to me for these helicopter molds is that you're supposed to fold the blades over, but then I don't know what you're supposed to do with them afterwards, because this part here, you're supposed to bend up like that, but then you got the blades either sticking out the back like that, which is really... So that's a big hitbox, wide, kind of in the way, or you tuck them in to their arms like that. That just kind of seems a little silly, though. They got these blades sticking out from under their arms. Well, that doesn't quite work. You could tilt it down a bit and fold the blades back and then kind of tuck them up here, which works a little bit, but it bends the blades is the problem. And then obviously you can't bend the blades down like that because that gets in the way of them standing up. So I don't know what the idea was there exactly. I don't know. This feels kind of not well thought out, if you know what I mean. And that goes for all of these helicopter molds. That's just the way they are. So again, the only way you can tell them apart, I guess something they added to these molds to make them a little feminine is to make their hands a little daintier, I think. I'd have to look at one of the other helicopter molds. I'd have to look at my Blades helicopter mold, but I think the femme helicopters have daintier hands and wrists. Maybe I'll take a picture of the two of them later and figure that out. So again, these body molds are fine. They're nice and sturdy. They work well. They stand up really nicely. They've got hinge knee joints, and tight ball and socket hip joints. So there's some movement, but they're pretty tight. Hinge elbow joints, no wrist joints on these, but hinge elbow joints that have pegs so they rattle. And then more free roaming ball and socket shoulder joint. Nice, not too loose, not too tight ball and socket head joint. A little more articulation for them to go up than to go down, but they work. They work very well, I think. And yeah, the only difference between these guys is their head molds. And there's very little difference between them. Stormclash, again, she's got the goggles, visor look going on. A little more sharp turn to her head mold, but not much. Honestly, the face mold is really what's different here. Oh, there's a little bit of difference in the sides of their head molds, in the pattern there. Versus that. And then Skyburst, she's just got two regular eyes, and she's got a longer nose and a pointier chin and fuller lips. Whereas because she's got those goggles, Stormclash doesn't have as long a bridge of a nose, and she's got a peg on the bottom of her chin, and her lips aren't nearly as full. So you'd say, I mean, if you were that kind of person, you'd say that Skyburst is a little prettier, a little more feminine, whereas Stormclash is a little more action-oriented, I think. So yeah. But everything about them is nice. I just wish there was more. They're really good figures. I just wish there was more of a difference between them, so I could tell them apart easier. Remembering goggles versus not goggles is okay, but yeah, I just wish there was a little more personalization there to separate them as twins. But that costs money, right? So to come up with voices for them, they'd probably sound similar, but different. You know how twins can kind of sound the same, but not really. Like, these guys are supposed to be identical, but they have different faces, so they're a little bit different. So I'd say Stormclash would sound more like she's got more of a pilot's voice going on, like steady on, you know, a straight on voice, like we're approaching target now. Be ready to drop in. 5. We gotta make sure we get in and out. Awaiting orders. Our directive is this. We're gonna get in and get out. Come on, guys. We're on a timetable here. You know? Whereas Skyburst, since she's a bit more feminine, classically feminine, maybe a little smoother. Maybe a bit breathier tone to her voice. Maybe a bit higher up in the throat, you know? Guys, the weather's looking rough out there, but I think we've got this. We're confident. As long as we follow the protocol, we should be fine, yeah? Okay, let's go in and get this drop done. Come on, guys, we could do it, yeah. You know, higher in the palate, higher in the throat as opposed to lower in the throat. That would be my main difference between these two, if I were to separate their character. So yeah. One more time. Skyburst, Stormclash. And because Skyburst and Stormclash are the twins, they get the twin blades. Sorry, switch them around. There we go. They get the twin blades. Skyburst, since she's on the right, since she faces left, Skyburst gets the sword with the hilt facing out to the right, and Stormclash gets the sword facing out to the left. Just so it's a cleaner image. Otherwise, they have the pegs sticking out. So I love the swords. They look like they're made out of ice. They're smooth, nice plastic. And then these swords combine. Yeah, unfortunately, Rust Dust didn't have any weapons because she's little. Figured they could have given her a blaster or something, but whatever. Say these two practice Kenpo together. Actually, they look almost like sail fin fish fins. Next up, we've got Dust Up in the Porsche looking transformation vehicle mode. Nice, real nice plastic. I like these don't look like Cybertronian glyphs, but they're like, maybe they're a different dialect of Cybertronian glyphs, I think. Because there's the Cybertronian glyphs we see in the movies, and we see that in other media and parts of the franchise, but I think these are the only ones where I've seen these kind of glyphs on them. Maybe they're a different dialect, maybe they're a slightly like a class-based dialect. I don't know. I literally just noticed that. I thought that was pretty neat. She's got nice wheel. Whoa. She sticks a little on this surface. Her wheels spin nice, but they're real close. See, like her front wheels are real close to the door, so if there's anything underneath, they're a little interrupted. The back wheels turn fine because there's a few inches between that they extend down from the chassis, but here they're touching the chassis, so they stick a little bit. Torch, you know. Right. Really big headlights. That's my only complaint for that. So let's transform her. And there we go. That's Dust Up. Real simple transformation. Everything moves nicely. Everything locks into place nicely. She is very, very red. Notice she's like the reddest out of all of them. Her and the other second to last figure I have to transform are just remolds of characters from the Metasaur pack. I mean, I'm sure those have been used for other stuff too. But, and Prowl, I want to say? Yeah, Prowl. She's also a remold, Prowl is a remold of her too. But I realized how they put a little more effort into making her more feminine. They added a curve to her chest, gave her a bit of a bosom to assure, no, this is definitely a female. She doesn't have, like, did they give her bigger thighs? They might have given her slightly bigger thighs, but not really. But they added just a slight swell to her chest plate to assure you she is, in fact, a femme. And then she has feminine, more delicate hands than you would find on a prowl or dead end. Though, honestly, I could be wrong. I'll have to go back and check that, see if that's actually true. She's, whoa, robot mode. She's a little back heavy thanks to the front part of her chassis forming her backpack, but she's got wide feet, so she stands pretty well. She's got short arms with an extra joint in the middle, which makes it look like she's wearing really puffy sleeves. So she doesn't have, her feet don't articulate at all. No one's do, I think, in this. She's got nice smooth hip joints, knee joints, nice smooth knee joints, ball and socket loose hip joints, no articulation in the middle, ball and socket shoulder joints, really short, square tucked in hinge joint for the elbow. They're, like I said, they're real short, and no articulation on the hands, and a bit of a tighter ball and socket joint for the head, but it moves fine. As you can see, she's got a ninja mask on. Dust up, I think, I don't do this. God, that looks so out of place. Doesn't that look out of place? Look how broad her shoulders are and how narrow her hips are, and then they just add a little bit of bosom. And it's like, come on, guys. Come on. You're not fooling anyone with this. So I normally don't do this with characters whose mouths are covered up by a face plate, but I might make her the strong silent type just because she's so bulky. She's so bulky, and she's built like a linebacker, and she's got a faceplate on, so I think I'd make her the silent type, the mute type. I mean, mute, like, maybe she doesn't talk because she doesn't want to, or she doesn't have vocal processors or something, but I probably wouldn't have her speak very often. Maybe if I did have her speak, I'd have her sound kind of a little on the gruffer side. You know, a little nasally, a little front of the mouth sounding. Don't worry, I got this. I'll take the shot. You guys cover me. I'm going in, you know. And not because she's butch, just she's bigger, so she'd have a slightly deeper voice. I wouldn't be making her, you know, the butch bot, the butch femme. I just say she's just so big. And she wears a faceplate. She'd probably be her voice would probably be a little muffled, and she'd probably just sound a bit deeper. Just to me, I think she looks, she'd sound a bit like Tuba from Infinity Train Season 3, because I can't remember for the life of me. I can't remember that voice actress's name, but she was in Wicker Man too. So, don't worry, I've got this. You know, front of the mouth, low in the nose, top of the palate kind of voice. You know, like that. So that's what I think she'd sound like. And then she gets the bow, their crossbow, energy boomerang looking thing, for reasons unknown. I honestly don't know what this thing is supposed to do. It doesn't fit in the hand very well, honestly. There we go. So I guess it can go that way and be like a ray gun looking thing, or it could be a bow, like a energy bow kind of deal, crossbow. kind of deal. I honestly don't know what this thing is supposed to be. It forms the hilt of the sword. So, any thoughts on what this is supposed to be? Comment down below. So that's Dust Up. You got Rust Dust, and Dust Up. Dust Up is bigger, okay? Let's see, her weapon forms a D, if that helps. Next, we have Jumpstream, who is the same mold as Breakdown from Menasor and Sunstreaker from also Combiner Wars. She's definitely the most aerodynamic looking. She's got the best wheels, I think, at least of the the deluxe class looking guys. She's got such smoothness finish to her paint job. She looks kind of like a Ferrari, I guess. This probably would be a higher engine noise. That kind of thing. The only part is I can't get this front part to stick together. Yeah, she's also got glyphs on her side. Real nice, real smooth. Nice disguise. You can't see any of her in there. So yeah, what did I say? Jumpstream. Let's transform her. Real quick, this is my least favorite part to transform. This type of mold and these joints are really difficult to transform to get the head down, so this might take a minute. Good God, it actually worked. That was the fastest I've ever gotten this version of anything to transform. Awesome. This is Jumpstream. Honestly, I don't think her robot mode quite matches her alt mode as far as personality goes. Again, to try to emulate that she is in fact a female, they gave her a bigger bosom than the other guys, quite honestly. I think she's the chestiest out of the Torchbearers, quite honestly. She's got a bug-eyed face. She looks like she's a deer caught in the headlights. She's got luscious lipstick and got a sort of an E.T. head face going on. Yeah, nice figure. Like I said, normally the hardest transformation, but this was my easiest time having it, so I feel nice about that. Hinge knee joints, ball and socket hip joints, no chest articulation. She's got nice ball and socket elbow joints. I think her hands are also femme molded specifically, compared to Sunstreaker or Breakdown. I'd have to look at that. And then she's got a ball and socket joint, shoulder joint. So her arms are very nicely articulated. I think she's got a slightly smaller forearm mold than Sunstreaker and Breakdown. So that's another thing that sets her apart. And then she's got a nice ball and socket joint for her head, but because of her head mold's shape, she can't get a lot of up and down articulation. It's mostly side to side. So because she's got these loose sliding hips, it's kind of hard to get her to stand up straight, but she stays up nicely. Her whole torso is so long, and she's got her torso and her hips kind of form one giant mass, which is interesting. And then her shoulders sit at an interesting angle to her body. Like, it looks like she's holding her arms down, but this is her shoulders up like fully up, which I find interesting. I like her elbow joints. In fact, they're nice and loose. She looks concerned, I think. She looks a little unsure of herself. She doesn't look as fast in robot mode as she would be in car mode, which is interesting to me. For her voice, with that face, it'd be so easy to have her go with the Dandere, Hinata, Stephanie Shea kind of voice, like, come on you guys, let's go. We can do this. Okay, we just gotta work together and we can lift that rock pile, no problem. You know, little girl, unsure girl with big ol' eyes, and she's pretty and sweet, but she's also got tig ol' bitties there. I don't get why they did that. I don't get why you'd stick breasts on a male body and not make any other effort. It just, God, they stick out so far from her body too. Oh my God. So yeah, she'd be played by Stephanie Shea. What a discovery, you guys! This is so important. Oh my gosh, we're gonna be famous! Yay! You know, that kind of thing. Oh, I'm terrible. And then she gets this, which is just a shield, basically. This goes on the sword too. I think it's supposed to be either a shield or some kind of blaster, depending on which way you hold it. Which way she holds it, she could hold it. It could also be like a mace, I guess, like a razor knuckle duster type mace. So she's this little girl. She's got big old thing. That works. I think that works pretty well. Yeah, that's Jump Stream. Big personality, little personality in a big package. Last but not least, we've got Pyra Magna, the Voyager class figure and the leader of the Torchbearers, and a remold of Inferno. Also from Combiner Wars / Power of the Primes. In my headcanon, Pyra Magna is Inferno's sister. They're like a duo. I know it's silly because like Firestar was Inferno's girlfriend and Pyra Magna is his sister, but you know, whatever, rescue vehicles. It's supposed to be a big fancy kind of firefighting vehicle, Cybertronian version. This is the head. This is the Victorion head, but I'm not going to show that until I have to. More of those glyphs on the side there. She's not as glossily painted as the rest of them because it's mostly just the parts of the truck itself, so there's not a lot of a paint job going on, except on the front with the windows being frosted. And the plastic between the head and the rest of the body is extremely noticeable. She rolls fine, wheels work well, they're at a good distance from the body of the truck. She's okay disguised. You can see her hands don't tuck in, so you can just see them on the back. So, that's what it sounds like, big old ladder. So let's transform her. Stuff keeps popping off. First the wheel and then the chest plate. Jeez. So there she is, Pyra Magna, the big bad leader of the Torchbearers, aka Inferno with boobs. Put a little bit of a swell to her. Just a little bit. she's a big lady, so I guess they're thinking she's a bit too big to have much of a bosom, but whatever. Yeah, real nice. Yeah, ooh, I thought maybe her hands were different from Inferno's, and I was right, they are. They're a little smaller, because Inferno's hands enclose this whole spot, whereas Pyromagna's got slightly daintier hands. Can they turn? No, they can't. Her face, obviously, she's got a different head mold than Inferno. She's got big old Galvatron wings on her head plate, and I noticed she's got a bit of war paint going on, kind of over her eyes, which I think is pretty neat. And she's got nice full lips as well. Body-wise, I think she looks the most feminine, and like she's got the most feminized body mold, I think, but it's not saying much. I think they just made it work. It just works a little better for her than the other ones. I don't know how to explain it. Also, I'd have no idea if this is supposed to be folded up like this, because I barely know what to do with this ladder at the back, so this is just where I stick it when she's transformed. No foot articulation. So her knee joints bend in 2 places, but this, I think, is where they're supposed to bend. Again, it's hinge joints, and they're a little stiff. She's got 2 hinge joints for her hips. She's got one that goes laterally and one that moves dorsal to ventrally. You can hear that with a lot of clacking going on. She's also got 2 hinge joints. She's got peg joints for her shoulder to go lateral, dorsal to ventral, and then a single hip joint for her shoulder to go laterally. And she's got a clacking hinge joint for her elbows. But her elbows bend pretty far back, actually. That's more than 90 degrees, for sure. Oh, she's got a double arm joint. Oh wait, I already said that, yeah. Yeah, so she can get her arm folded up pretty tight against her body, which means she can cross her arms nicely, like any, I mean, you can't really see her face, but she can cross her arms nicely, like any good leader should be able to do. You can't be a leader of the Transformers if you can't cross your arms. You got to be able to cross your arms. And then she's got a sturdy. Oh, that's for transforming. She's got a ball and socket joint for her head. That's Pyromagna. Vocal performance-wise, I would say Colleen Clinkenbeard doing a Riza Hawkeye performance would work well for this. Alright, ladies, let's do this. We're gonna get into that let's get into that dig site. There's something really interesting going on in there, and we're gonna find out what. You know, not quite front of the mouth like, not Jump String, Dust Up, but a little chestier, you know, because she's tall. She's not as bulky as Dust Up, but she's tall. Ladies, we've got to get this done. Guys, I think it's time we form Victorion. You know, something like that. A little lower down in the chest area. And then she gets this big ol' gun/axe. Forms the main part of the sword. You can put this anywhere. Put this here. So this becomes this nasty freaking serrated looking axe mace thing. Just call it like a climber's axe, or even like a fireman's axe, kind of like Optimus Prime's fireman axe. That's what I'd say this looks like, because she's a fire truck, so that makes sense, right? So yeah. Now that we've got our Torchbearers transformed and assembled, it's time to combine them into Victorion. I'm going to start with Rust Dust again. She's going to form the chest plate. It is, or it'll look like that, pretty sure. Stormclash and Skyburst are going to form the legs, so I'll show you one, and then I'll show you the transformation of one, and then I'll assemble the other on my own. And there's one leg. Now let me just make the other. Ta-da! 2 legs. My only problem is she has heels, because of course she has heels. Any female character must have heels. But on the upside, toe articulation. That's really cool. And side-to-side ankle articulation. So that's nice. Next we're going to do Dust Up. She's going to become one of the arms. And there we go. She has become the right arm. Victorion's got very unique hands for a combiner. They're very dainty, but they're also really nicely made and pretty, and she's got some finger articulation. She can articulate her index fingers. Pretty cool. So there's that. Now Jump Stream's going to become the left arm. And there we are. There's, this has to come up, I think. No, I'm gonna leave that down, looks better. There's the left arm, again with articulation in the fingers on the left hand. She can snap. And then we're all dead. And then Pyromagna, as always, the leader, she's gonna become the torso and the head. Boom! Didn't expect that, did you? The ladder wraps all the way around to become the head. Victorion definitely has one of my favorite head molds of any combiner. It's just so cool. I love her visor, and her headwear mold is so cool. Her paint's really nice, the plastic's really nice. So let's assemble her. We've got legs. Arms. And chest plate. And there we are. Lady Victorion in all her glory. And, like any good combiner, the weapons assemble to make her weapon. Take Victorion's take Pyromagna's axe, and the swords. Shield. And whatever the hell this is. And there's the almost ice-looking sword of the Torchbearers. Put it in. Unfortunately, Dust Step's forearm build kind of doesn't stay put very well by nature of her legs. There we go. And there she is. By the honor of Grayskull! For her voice, I probably would do something of an 80s voice actress sound, because obviously I can't do a multi-voice, but it is time to unite! Victorion always punishes the wicked. You know, booming voice outwards. Sounds exactly pure 80s female voice acting energy. That's what I'm getting. And then, let's take a look at her joints. She's got knee joints. And she's got functioning hip joints, which is great. And arm joints. And as you see, functional elbow joints. And her head moves side to side pretty well. There's a small ball and socket joint element, so it does move up and down. There's Victorion. This is honestly one of the most solid combiners that I've seen and have, because her center of gravity is perfectly when you put her sword in her hand, obviously she's a little more off balance, but here, I'm just gonna hold that. Without her sword, and if it's more sturdily situated, her center of gravity is stationed in her chest and in her legs. So everything is nicely balanced. She's not gonna fall over very easily, again, unless she's holding her weapon, but you can just adjust it. She holds together really nicely. Again, she's not going to fall over that easily. She's not going to fall apart that easily either. Everything's nicely situated. And I don't know how big she is. I'm pretty sure she's smaller than God Neptune, which is interesting. I haven't stood her up against the other combiners, so that'll be interesting. I think she might be smaller than everyone else, but we'll have to see. How do Victorion and the Torchbearers rate on the awesome scale? Each individual robot, I'm going to give a 4 out of 5, because some of their molds are just so odd. So weird choices were made. They're like, oh, we could just reuse this mold and stick a femme head on it, and then boom, it's a female. Or a femme head and maybe some chest on it. Boom, it's a female. We don't have to do any more work. And just some of that, the choices they made make for very odd looking figures, but at the same time, I just love that about them. And I love that they're female characters, and they're very well put together, sturdy figures, so they work really well. So they earn a 4. Victorion herself, the combiner, she is a 5 out of 5 as a combiner. She's sturdy, she articulates well, she's nice and balanced. She's everything you'd want in a combiner that is a G1 style combiner. She's got lots of stuff going for her. So she earns a total of 5 out of 5, an awesome out of awesome on the scale. As a complete set, the Torchbearers as a combiner set, because of their weird little quirks and the fact that like stuff like this happens, there's little itty bitty flaws in how the character fits to how they fit together as a design. The whole thing gets a 4.5 out of 5. A high cool, maybe a 4.525 out of 5. A cool to awesome on the awesome scale. So that was Victorion, my absolute favorite combiner right now. God, I love her so much. She's so special to me, I can't even express it. She's literally everything I would want in a combiner, especially a female combiner. The only thing I would change about her is to have her not wearing heels. Why do female characters always have to wear heels? Like, always. Now, I'm not saying completely get rid of heels. Obviously, you can be a badass and wear heels. I'm just saying I want to see a 1-to-1 ratio of heels versus flats on female characters. I want to see more variety. Hey, maybe even more heels on male characters. We've seen it done. Looking at you, Transformers Prime Starscream. But other than that, I honestly wouldn't change anything else. Next time we'll be doing another unboxing video, this time on something I completely forgot I ordered until it arrived, which is pretty funny. But the reason I ordered it in the first place is also pretty funny. Will it be lame? Will it be awesome? Next time, in real time, we'll figure it out. Thank you all for watching today's video on my favorite combiner. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a like. If you want other people to see this video, please make sure to give it a share. If you have something to say on this video, please leave a comment down below. If you want to see more videos from this channel, please click the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you'll know when more videos are coming out. If you want to see more content just from me, please follow me on Instagram, DeviantArt, Facebook, and if we get more followers, Twitter, where I share pictures of my pets, updates on my research, and fan art and original art, all of which are Swampling Lover with an LVR. My question for you today is, what's your favorite female character or characters from your favorite IP? Do you wish there was merch for this character? Or what is your favorite piece of merch from this character? Or do you want to hear more about female characters from the Transformers franchise? Please comment your answer down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao, Bellas!